indicators that shows that there are a lot of flaws in the way in which education is being handled in India and elsewhere all over the world. Why they are not able to acquire and continually upgrade their skills so that they can sustain with all their abilities. The market forces have their own demands, and accordingly they want to tweak education, and they want to influence education in a way that it satisfies their conditions, their requirements. That is another dimension. The education has been now reduced to simply examination regime. The only common competitive entrance examination in the world that qualify a student is only NEET. See, friends, the world is heading towards a large-scale transformation in all respects, economically, socially, politically, culturally, in all respects, because with the advent of globalization and so many other consumption patterns and the way in which production are reorganized and ever increasing changing demands of the society and the humankind is leading to a rapid radical change in the way that the humankind lives its life. Say, we are heading towards psychologically troubled conditions in every nation in some format, socially, economically, and racially. We are all divided, and we are ever increasing our divisions and segregations between our social units and identities. And the consumption pattern now geared by the consumerizing the society is heading towards a large scale lifestyle change and social change. And also the human production is also going through a topside down change wherein the means of production are not limited only to the physical resources, capital, and manpower, but beyond that, the ideas, knowledge, and so much of other forms of means of productions are on board. And with this, a lot of radical change is taking place in human productions in all respect, whether it is service or real core productions. And also, the human consciousness is continually being infiltrated or influenced by the technological influences like AI, and in future the quantum computing, quantum mechanics, the technologies, modern science playing a major role, which might in future is going to affect in a large manner the way in which we think. And these are all the major instruments that are driving the 21st century. And the time is not long away. It's just a matter of 1 decade from now that we are going to realize fully. Of course, it started influencing the society, infiltrating the society in various ways in its activities. But it's not a long way to go. And towards that, we are in need to prepare our kids, our children, our society to face those challenges. And look at now the students. The students now, graduated from universities and studied in schools are absolutely coming out with the empty vessels in their head, as empty vessels in their head, and being so redundant, not able to equip themselves to propel against the changing demands and requirements after being equipped in higher education institutions. They are highly redundant and they are jobless. And the rate of joblessness is ever increasing because of many reasons. It's economic reasons and industrial, the policy of the country and the economic profile and the performance of the country. And also the educative capacity of the human power in addressing the changing demands. So these are all the present conditions, and especially the graduates coming out of universities are not able to dispose their socio-economic, professional, dispositions. So these are all the major flaws in the education, so indicators that shows that there are a lot of flaws in the way in which education is being handled in India and elsewhere all over the world. I would quote, not just only it's a phenomenon of India, but India has a unique phenomenon. That is the difference between the world and the India. So in that manner, so what made these things to happen? And why our kids and children are not able to thrive in this world? Why they are not able to solve problems? Why they are not able to face challenges? Why they are not able to acquire and continually upgrade their skills so that they can sustain with all their abilities in responding to the changing dimensions and requirements and self-propel themselves in terms of entrepreneurship, jobs, family life, and social life, and political life in all respects. So the main reason I would like to note down now is the education instead of grooming, molding, forming the students and the kids in preparing them with all necessary skills and knowledge. It is making them to comply for certain standards. It is education is nothing but something like a compliance. It is just a compliance, just like a regulatory compliance and quality compliance as decided by the rulers, the administrators, and regulatory authorities. You take, for instance, engineering education, medical education, and all higher studies. It is just only to meet the compliance standards. It is full of not education means it is grooming. The basic fundamental function of education is grooming, whereas it is heading towards compliance, complying to certain standards set by the rulers. It is not just only the governments and regulatory authorities on its compliance, but it is more than that. It is complying to the standards of the neoliberal market forces. And the market forces have their own demands, and accordingly they want to tweak education and they want to influence education in a way that it satisfies their conditions, their requirements. That is another dimension. The other dimension is the socially, especially cultivated communities which have social authority in this country in terms of social structure. Whoever has the authority wants to monopolize and also influence the curriculum and the learning outcomes in the way they like, which suits them. So that means it's a three-dimensional assault and attack on education posed by three major forces. One is the nation state, ruled by the union government, and the other one is the neoliberal market forces, and the other one is specially cultivated communities. It's a large-scale triangulated collusion that make them, to make education comply to their expectations and standards, whereas the reality is completely what I told you in the first place. Say, coming to the point, the main in the compliance system, the main educational function fostered, focused, garnered, and you use all terminologies is examination. So to reach that compliance and to meet that compliance, the only mechanism that they found is examination. Examination means then to meet the examination standards, and the education has been now reduced to simply examination regime. Now, education is not education, it has now become examination regime. You take for any instance, people are attending examinations from third standard, fourth standard. Even now, the national education policy is fostering public examination for students undergoing third standard, fifth standard, eighth standard, and then four different examinations, public examinations from ninth standard to 12th grade. And then afterwards, they have to appear for a neat kind of CUT, is a cute kind of common entrance examinations. And afterwards, they have to study MBBS. And once they come out of the MBBS, they have to sit for another examination called the next to get certified as a qualified doctor, and then to enter into any companies and jobs. There are UPSC, this, that, and lot of nonsense in this country happening in the name of education. So education has been simply reduced to examination regime, sir. That we must first understand. So this examination regime, at least these so-called leaders, the so-called enlightened leaders of our country who are setting the agenda of education, first, at least if they do what they intend to do, at least in the education, I would appreciate. You take, for instance, NEET. The NEET examination is trying to qualify the students to enter into medical education. The only common competitive entrance examination in the world that qualify a student is only NEET. There are CAT, UCAT, MCAT in America, UCAT in UK, and ACT in United States, and SAT in the United States. All these progressive worlds also have some kind of competitive examinations, but these examinations, for your information, are not qualifying the students. Understand, my friends. They are not eligibility standards. They are not considered as eligibility to enter into university. Say now the University of Berkeley, the California Berkeley and Stanford, Harvard, all Ivy League universities have disowned the SAT. They've thrown SAT, and so much of medical universities, institutions in UK, they don't consider UCAT. Even there is a UCAT examination there. So that means India has named it as National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. Imagine. So that means it's not simply an entrance test, to adjust the students' skills and knowledge in pertaining to certain domains, but it is making them eligible. Unless you score, you cannot enter into medical education. So that means it is not just only entrance examination.
Yes, Professor Jawahar, could you just summarize? We'll again discuss in detail in the second part of this program.
Okay, sorry. So that means what I am trying to get is that there are a lot of things that I would like to explain, but I will explain later. But that means that the NEET kind of entrance examinations are not testifying the students in terms of the required skills and knowledge suitable for them to study, to qualify them to study in the higher education. That is one place. The other thing is, in the future, what I'm proposing is not proposing, is the fact is that we have to, mold and prepare the students ready for the 21st century's challenges, which is nothing but, making them to think, making them to be conscious on choosing options and making judgments on the subjects they study and the challenges they face, and also in their applications. So these are all not there, and students are not adjudged on these elements, but they are adjudged mainly on a prefixed, standardized, high-stake contents, which is simply a rote form of system, which would not qualify talented students entering into higher education. This should be scrapped. That's the point. I would substantiate this more in my future deliberations. Thank you very much, sir.